Then
Oh, good, yeah.
We're recording this week.
Yeah.
I deserve that.
I always feel guilty when I didn't remind you, but then, because I'm like going, oh, good, that'll be good to be on tape, and I'm not checking a little red, over there to see if it
Well,
is
we
on
all
tape.
missed it, right?
Come on, Bill.
All right, is Adam joining us? Or is Adam must be there.
There, he's there.
Hi, Adam. I just realized that.
He's hiding back here.
Hiding, right.
Right. Well. So I haven't had any messages from him. Okay, well. We'll hope he joins us soon. So just a reminder that I'm going to be away. So there's no class next week,
Right.
but there will be the week after. Anyone arrive with questions or concerns?
Nope.
Just remind us of the elbows in one when we're going up. I was watching some of the older recordings and mine seem to be out more. They're supposed to get all the way to the side channels, right? As the kind of in line with the wrist.
Ideally, yes.
In line with the rest, right?
I'm less than ideal too.
Oh, I don't know.
Always the ideal.
All right.
So, yeah, she can see me. So yes, when that's coming up, that's the first movement is in. And that's happening all the way up to there.
Okay. Yeah. Can you maybe talk a little bit about how you keep the twisting going if you get the elbows in all the way so early? I feel like
Oh, good question.
twist left in the.
So don't get them in too early.
Okay.
So for one thing, you're twisting the other way. You're twisting in with them here, so that, out, sorry, so that you, as they come in, notice that mine are going in, boom.
Okay. Okay.
That's helpful. Yeah.
So it's, you want to look in every movement for how you keep it going, how you keep it moving. And you're absolutely right. If you start this by going here, then you can still get some movement here, but you tend to get locked up in your connection into the scapula and spine.
Okay.
So it is a matter of apportioning everything so that it can be continuous.
Okay.
Good question. Anything else for anyone? How is your upper back breathing?
Yeah, for me, I think that's going well. I never found it a big challenge, I guess, is helpful.
Yeah, good.
But then I think I've been able to improve on it in the last Yeah, month.
Good. Bill?
Yeah, about the same. I had gotten away from that particular phase of breathing, after the Qigong class. Not that I dropped it completely, but,
Yeah.
things get unused for a while. So it's coming back. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
It's going good. I think my only question is, when you're doing the upper back breathing, should the upper back be like moving up and back? It feels like as my chest drops, the upper back is moving up and back, and I have to feel a lot of physical movement.
There is a little bit, yes. It's not going to be a huge amount,
Yeah,
but there
Yeah.
is some.
okay.
Okay. Well, since you're all doing so well,
Onward.
I'm at least going to introduce upper lung breathing.
Good.
So, in terms of Taoist breathing, what we're working on is at the basics of breathing. There are many other forms. There is breathing through the pores of the skin. There's breathing through the spine, breathing through various energy centers in your body, but we're doing just the basic breathing. Now the question is, where are your upper lungs? Upper back breathing is going to get the breathing in your lungs to about this level, a couple of inches or 3 or 4 inches below the throat notch. And you can do that without any problem. But we're talking about the last 20 or 30% of the lungs, and that can be very difficult. And most people actually don't do it. Now, the only way you can really find it is to push your fingers inside your collarbone and then gently push downward, so you can actually feel the top of the lungs expanding and contracting. We'll work on this in a minute. A general rule, if you're just learning Taoist breathing, is you need to begin to do the basic breathing with the belly, diaphragm, sides, kidneys, and the upper back for somewhere between 6 months and 2 years before it's realistic that you can easily start adding upper lung breathing. Otherwise, you'll be trying to get the upper lungs. You will be trying to get the upper lungs, but you will literally be closing off blood vessels in your head, and it will be very uncomfortable, to say the least. It takes time. Now, why should you care about breathing from the upper lungs? It is what sends the qi directly into the brain. And the second reason is that the pressure of upper lung breathing is something that, on an ongoing basis, opens up the blood vessels that bring the blood from your head back to your heart and makes the arterial blood go to your head. Upper lung breathing will naturally increase those flows, so that's a good thing. Now, it's not just about bringing more oxygen in. What it can also do is move more blood and open up the space inside your brain. And the more those spaces are opened up, the better the communications between the different parts of your brain will generally work. Now, in China, really good scholars learned how to do upper lung breathing if they ever learned Qigong at all. This was something they all wanted to learn because they were all under pressure to perform mentally. But today, people are under pressure to mentally perform for economic reasons. Because if you don't perform well with your brain, you won't get respect or money or position. And who really, given a choice, wants to work for McDonald's? not a lot of us. So in order to upgrade the brain, upper lung breathing is a very, very valuable thing to do. The benefits of breathing with the upper lungs in God's plane in the clouds is that it is going to connect your brain to your bodily movements in a much better way, in the way that you are increasing the chi of your body. This can also increase the chi of your brain. But in order to increase the chi of your brain, just because you are a physical being, you have to get oxygen to it. But the main point is not so much the oxygen, it is the fact that it can cause openings and closings in the really tiny spaces inside your brain. And the better those openings and closings work, the better the neural synaptic action inside the brain works. Now, are you inhaling as you expand or stretch and exhaling as you shrink or bend? Well, I'm going to say right now, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you can easily feel the sense of air and blood going into your brain and leaving your brain. The essential thing is that you can feel something going up through the arteries into the brain, but you also can feel the excess blood in the brain draining down to the subclavian vessels, where it goes back to your heart. Now, how do you find that? I have to say, doing this by yourself is challenging and not as reliable as having someone doing it on you until you recognize what the feeling is. Some people can do it. Many people have a really hard time doing it. So the next thing is that some pressure needs to be put inside your collarbones. So let's play with this. If you haven't done this before, you probably have.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, I have two. Yeah.
I think you've all done it before.
I think you
Yep,
did this
yep.
in this class earlier. Yeah.
So you could do just one side at a time, probably easier and a little more accurate. And you have to just go in and really find, it's kind of a soft spot where all of a sudden the pulse is really present. You can really feel it. Yes. I'm presuming you're both able to feel it.
Yep.
Yep.
Good. So you're of course pressing into the subclavian vessels. Sub means below and clavian means your clavicles. So you just keep going in until you can feel that. Now, if you put your hand on the outside of your neck and you inhale with the top of your lungs, you can feel the blood moving into your arteries in the neck. It's a little more difficult to locate than the one behind the clavicles. So are you finding that?
No.
No? So
It's a matter of playing with it, I assume.
it is a matter of playing with it, and it's on the side of the neck.
Yeah.
And it's actually, it's not the same, I think, for everyone, but it's either slightly just in front or just behind a large tendon going up the side of the neck. And so one of the things now to as you're feeling these points is to begin to try to feel breathing into that additional 20 or 30% above upper back breathing. And so that what happens is that you will feel these pulses, and it is easier to feel the subclavian pulse increase as you get the upper lung breathing moving. And gradually you actually will be able to feel the chi moving up into your brain. So blah, blah, blah. Some of this I'll let you read on your own. So as I was saying, you really have to look around for these. The one behind your clavicle, one of the things they suggest as a way to locate it is to think about where you might have a mustache, and it would be at the end of the mustache, dropping straight down.
Mhm.
That's kind of a good way to think about it.
Uh-huh.
So when you find this pulse on the side of the neck, you found the artery that's bringing the blood to your brain, and that one's coming, but there is also one that's coming down and is draining all the blood from your head. Of course, that's a vein, which is necessary, but the sense of it is much, much weaker. And the reason is that the pulse of veins is weaker than the pulse of arteries. You can go on the internet and see a diagram of all the blood vessels in the head if you're feeling that you like a little more detail about this. So the difficulty is really breathing into this upper lung area. And initially, feeling the subclavian pulse behind the clavicle is first a good way of finding out if you've connected to that. So that when you do upper lung breathing, it actually causes that pulse to increase. And so that's one way to really be aware of that. And that is what you're looking for, is to get that pulse and the pulse in your neck to be stronger. I think for you guys, it may be that feeling the chi moving up into the brain may be even a very good indication, because you don't get that until you actually have upper lung breathing. Upper back breathing does not cause that to be at least apparent. Obviously, there is chi moving into your brain, but it doesn't increase until you get upper lung breathing to be active. So, just have to practice upper lung breathing. let's see. Yep. When you do movement 6 in gods, you have a lot of things going on. So I recommend that you at least as you guys have been working with upper back breathing for a minimum of a year, and then begin to try to work on upper lung breathing. So there's no reason why you can't go right ahead and work on upper lung breathing. Now, just a reminder that the Taoists do all of their breathing without holding the breath. But when you learn pranayama in India, for instance, they have you hold the breath on the exhale. And you're holding it ideally at the subclavian points, which is kind of interesting. So all of the major Kundalini techniques make a rather big deal about those points. But in Taoism, it's considered a part of their normal breathing practice, but without holding the breath. So I think what I'd like you to do is just to connect to either behind your clavicles or on the side of your neck, and just breathe a little bit and see if you can begin to get a sense of increasing whatever pulse you have located.
David,
Yes.
when you say increase the pulse you located, do you mean like increase the heart rate, or increase kind of like
No, not the
intensity?
not the rate, indeed, the intensity,
Okay.
the volume.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good.
I'm happy to report that I'm alive.
We're happy with that too.
We are, and actually we were pretty sure of it.
We're doubting it.
No, I am getting a pulse at the side of my neck, so.
Oh, good. It does exist. We all can do with improving our mental function.
Yes.
As with all breathing practices, you don't want to try too hard. It really is a matter of letting go and opening up.
You're just putting your fingers there. I can feel it. You kind of realize how stiff that area is.
Mhm.
You know, just light pressure from your fingers is like that area is sore.
Ah,
Yeah. And it's a lot to let go of there.
yeah. So, reactions, Bill or Joanne?
I think I'm feeling a little bit of something subclavial. Not as much as I did in the Nigong class. I do have a question. I know you had mentioned just in passing, and it's another thing entirely, but is spinal breathing an assist in opening things up in that area? It should be, obviously, yeah.
Yes. I actually, I have not worked on spinal breathing. I've not studied that. So I am, in this case, repeating Bruce's note.
Okay, I'm remembering something, I think, from Nagong. Did we touch on it at all? I can remember something.
Not, no, not really.
Okay,
We in talking about lower back breathing, we talked about connecting down into the sacral area. So we
yeah.
are connecting, but that's different than spinal breathing.
Okay,
Good.
I feel, yeah, and I think, yes, I can feel it, but I can also begin to feel it in my head.
Oh, good. Good.
Still, there's a kind of, yeah, a bit of a tingling, just a bit of more of an awareness.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. I find I really need to do all the pieces with this added on to get any good feedback.
Yeah.
That just focusing on the upper lungs without the rest of it doesn't seem to work. You know, like if I lose the sides or the upper back, like it all goes away.
Yeah. So I think that's a good point, is that well, I had you just do an exercise of just seeing if you could get upper lung breathing. Indeed, you want to make sure that you start from the beginning and that you establish all the rest of the breathing and then include upper lung breathing.
Right.
Good.
I think I was thinking that I'm also glad we're not doing the Indian method of holding our breath, because I feel like it's easier to really do a natural flow without that.
I feel very strongly that way myself. But it is, you know, it's another approach.
Yeah, right. Yep. And I've done a little of that with some of the yoga that I've done. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And actually, some of the students I've had who were heavily into yoga found it difficult not to hold the breath.
Yeah. Right.
So it's just a different approach.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here making up my mind about what I want to do here.
I figured that.
Well, I think what I'd like to do, particularly in light of the fact that I'm not going to see you for 2 weeks, is for you to do a full flow of gods. And just let me see how you're doing. And any problems that come up for you, think about them, because I think this is a good time to sort of review everything and make sure that you're comfortable with what you're doing at the moment.
Yep. How many repetitions, David?
20,
20, okay.
if you can.
Yeah.
I won't be able to do that, but I will do my best.
Yep.
Well, do some seated if you need to, or just do a smaller number.
Yeah. Yep.
Whatever's appropriate for you.
Yeah. Get that seat ready.
So how was that?
Like a good flow.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep, some part of my mind focused on the upper lung breathing. That seemed to really keep you focused.
Mm.
Good. Much easier to bring the mind back from distraction or from overthinking.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Bill?
Well, I'm all warm and tingly.
Good.
I do think I need to work on slowing the pace when I go out in any way. That seems to happen too fast.
Yep.
Compared to the rest of the circle. Yeah.
Yes. True. Joanne?
Yeah, I think I was, really aware of making sure I was continually twisting, which I think I didn't do too bad a job on. Yes, I'm hot and tingly. I think there were times when I felt, I don't normally feel this, but I felt my upper shoulders tightening, and so that affected my crane's neck. So I need to be careful of that. But I had not done a full flow of 20 each in a long time. So I sat through 3 because that's the challenge to my knees. So I managed to do the rest of it, do a full count as long as I sat through
Good.
3, which still doesn't, I mean, you can sit through it, you still don't feel it the same way. So,
No.
the goal is to get back to it, but yeah.
Good. Good. Yeah, there is actually Bill's point there. Everybody has at some point a little bit of an issue about that, and it seems to be on the rising movements. So, for instance, I noticed that in, for instance, 2, that people would get to here and then, oh, nice down. Hup. That happened to some degree on 4 and 5 and 6
Right.
too. So kind of be aware of that. the twisting, and yes, you were better, Joanne. I will say I could see that.
Uh-huh.
Really making sure you keep the twisting continuous is important. And
Yeah.
it's important that it not only be in your arms, but recognize that your legs are twisting, your pelvis is twisting, your torso is twisting. It needs to be, you need to be developing an awareness of that happening throughout the entire body. Because that really does have an effect on how the energy moves, of course.
Yep.
And trying to keep in mind with each movement what you're trying to do energetically.
Yes, yeah.
What you want to happen here,
Mhm.
I think is really important. That, of course, leads to too much thinking, but
Yeah.
you do a certain amount of that
Mhm.
initially. I felt it was interesting in 2 and 4, and maybe in 5, I'm not sure. I didn't feel it so much anywhere else, but understand that one of the things that has to happen when the arms come up is there is a point at which the shoulders have to let go.
Yeah, yeah,
They literally have to release down. So that this movement, wherever it is, whether it's here or here or here, that's not a right or wrong, it's wherever that occurs. It's even more apparent in 4, because when you get to this point, this is where that release of the shoulders has to happen. If you don't, then while you may still make the movement, the shoulders start coming up.
yes, yeah,
And so here it's the shoulders drop, and that allows the elbows to move and arms to move.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel you're doing with condensing?
Well, I think because of the lessons last week, I'm more aware of that in 5 and 6. Yeah, and yeah, I felt like I was getting it.
Okay.
And for me, 5 was especially, I felt heat immediately and through the whole thing. So I'm assuming that has something to do with the condensing.
Yep. Good.
I feel like I'm doing kind of so-so. Sometimes I feel like I do it fairly well for the level I'm at, and other times I feel like I'm trying to do it maybe too much, and it leads to a lot of stiffness, kind of muscular contraction to try and force that feeling of condensing.
Because Adam was here and I could really see him. I must say condensing is a little difficult to observe on Zoom. I can see it to some extent, but not like I can in person. It seemed to me in 5 that you lost the condensing as you went along, but it came back in 6.
Interesting.
And I think one of the things in 5 and 6 is not to feel part of the growth of energetically through gods is that your awareness and the size of your etheric body grows. So when you're beginning those first movements, it's quite reasonable that the arms are moving, maybe coming fairly close to the body. But in 5 and 6, your etheric body ideally has really begun to expand, and your awareness of it has begun to expand. So that the movement there, instead of being here, which is an exaggeration, I didn't actually see anybody do that, but it can be much smaller and further away from the body as you really are feeling the extent of your etheric body growing. And that's partially because of the condensing.
Okay.
In 5 at the bottom and in 6 at the bottom, it's not necessary that the arms be close to the dantian. They only need to connect energetically to the dantian.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I might not have made absolutely clear.
No, I mean, I knew the goal. It's working it in.
Yeah. So, are there any other questions at the moment?
No,
Good.
No.
That seemed to me good work. I see progress in everybody.
Great.
That's wonderful. I really, seriously, I see progress in everyone. That's really great. So keep practicing. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
safe trip, David.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're the trip.
I'll do my best. Great. Thank you.
Great, thank you, David. Class.
Yeah, it was good. Good work.
Hmm.
Hey,
No. Why? You need to talk? Oh, go ahead.
bang it or get a piece?
Jane is consulting Adam, the nurse.
Oh. I'm feeling something's going on over there. I'm like,
Just ice it and not worry about it. And it's
No, it's something local.
it hurts to bend. Okay, I just wanted to.
It hurts the whole thing to bend, or like specifically that joint. You to bang it.
No, I think I got stung on Sunday, but I don't remember.
I would just keep icing it. Yeah. Okay, keep an eye on it.
Just
You know, it doesn't look infected. It just looks banged and bruised. It turns like red and starts getting hot to the touch. Then you might have an infection.
okay.
Okay.
Last thing we need when we're going.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
You're welcome. Feels better.
Thank you.
So, how is your woo?
Less progress than God's.
Well, not overall.
Yeah. I don't know. But I think what I have done the last week felt pretty good. Felt pretty energetic.
Good. Anything for you, Joanne?
yeah, no, I did get to practice this week. No particular questions. I think, I'm still a little rusty, but I'm remembering everything. Or at least when I look at my cheat sheet, I'm like, oh yeah, right. Another cloud hands.
Oh, that's good. Oh, yes, another cloud. Yeah.
Another cloud hands. I don't have any specific questions. I feel like it's, yeah, I think like with Adam, you know, that when there's a, when we're really trying to learn something new in gods, then that becomes the focus of practice, right?
Yeah.
Some weeks are busier than others, you know. The
Right.
next 2 weeks should be a little easier, hopefully. Well, at least when we don't have class, I do try to take an extra time on the day of class to practice. So see if we can do
Good.
that.
Yeah, so indeed, upper lung breathing would certainly be a good thing to include in
Sure.
the form,
Uh-huh.
but that it might not be appropriate to try to do that yet. I don't know. You have to judge that.
Yeah, right.
I think it's easier in God's, although I won't say it's really easy.
Uh-huh.
But I think establishing it there then makes it easier to move into the form.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. And you're right. It's the establishing it, right? If we're trying to, like what Adam said earlier, it's kind of like, yeah, if we're doing too much focusing, it might help us from our mind wandering, but we're just also kind of focusing on just one aspect of it rather than the holistic thing. So it is easy to do that in God's, I think, and then
Yeah,
move it in to the form.
yeah. Despite the number of times that we do follow and focus, it's not the same as 20 repetitions of the same posture.
Well, I was thinking as we were saying it in God's, you know, it's like driving a car, right? When you first drive a car, you know, you have to kind of go through the checklist in your mind constantly, right? What am I doing here? Did I look left on the light? Right? Am I at this full stop? Well, and then, you know, then you don't have to do that. You don't have to think about it because you do it. It's there. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we want to be with this, right? We do it and then, yeah. So, yeah. Practice, right?
Gee, that's all there is to it, isn't it?
Yeah, right. All we need to do is find the time to do that in our busy lives.
What was somebody was saying the other day that they had done 3 hours a day practice, and I thought, well, that's great.
Yeah.
How do you
Wow.
do that?
Yeah, no, I'm not at that point. Maybe, yeah, I have to retire. I don't see that coming soon. So,
So I was going to suggest that rather than focusing so much on the first part of the form, that you begin to really focus on the third paragraph.
that's what I've been doing, actually.
Master Joe I heard him say more than once, it's all in the third paragraph.
Right.
And in a way, yes, that's the culmination. But like God's, it's based on what you've done before. But I think focusing on it is a very good place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been actually. I think probably I'm a little worried the second paragraph's getting rusty because I find the largest challenge to my knees just because there's so many positions in there that are either more on one leg or, you know,
Yeah,
doing Jebu and the like. But I have been focusing on the third actually.
good. So your knees will tell you when you're doing something you shouldn't.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate Tai Chi for that, right? I mean, I moved into Tai Chi because I had one bad knee and then I had two and I could not do the yoga anymore. I was, you know, taking yoga from Maria. And I do find that that's true, although when they really hurt, but there, yeah. And
Yeah.
and figuring out how to manage the pain or deal with it better. So, yeah, ice packs are my friend some days, some mornings,
Oh.
so.
Every day.
No, yeah. And then, yeah, or like what I did just now, sit through 3, because that's, I can't do all of 4, 5, and 6 if I don't.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good way to handle it.
Mhm. But I don't want to not do 3, so yes.
No, it's.
It's important. It's actually easier to do that when I'm not on the computer, because the way I place my chair, I can just move more freely into it. But here I have to move it in the sight, so that kind of
Yeah, yeah.
breaks it up a little bit. Normally I don't do it that way, so yeah.
You know, when you're doing 3 seated, that's probably a good time to focus on breathing into liver and spleen
Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
with it.
Yeah.
Because that you can do seated
Right.
effectively.
Good point. Yeah.
Whereas getting the full movement of the energy in and out is pretty hard.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But you still move some.
You
So,
still move some. Yeah.
good.
Good.
So maybe a flow of the 3rd paragraph.
Sure.
I don't think I can right now, given my right knee, but maybe I could try, but I don't know. I'm a little afraid to. It's also about 90 degrees in the room I'm in right now.
That's okay. So
Oh, yeah, maybe I'll watch.
do it in,
Do it right in the middle here.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll get out of the way.
Where should we start from here?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
How did you feel about that?
It felt like a pretty good flow. It felt fairly energetic. There were some points that kind of cut out. I don't think single whip was particularly good throughout any of it. For whatever reason, I couldn't seem to get it. You know, one of those days it just felt off.
Seemed rushed.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
When you go to Moki,
Yeah,
be a little careful that you don't go up.
okay,
Really, if you keep thinking of out,
out, okay,
because you were tending to lift that shoulder. Matter of fact, your
okay,
tightness in shoulders does seem to be an issue.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
But yeah, no,
okay,
I did feel better that there was more a sense of coming from the back in that rather than pushing with the arm.
Mhm,
Certainly, yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Good. Well,
Very good. I realized I was missing one thing in doing it in Sweep the Lotus. I've not been kicking with heel. I just like spaced that one out, but otherwise, you know, otherwise I was like, yes, I've done all of that.
No,
you,
But oops.
perhaps you shouldn't be doing kick with heel.
Well, see, I think I might have, yes, I might have dropped some of those things when I couldn't. And then, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Anyway, but I should at least be aware it's there and I'm not doing it if I'm not doing it as opposed to just forgetting it exists.
sure.
Yeah.
thank you.
Anyway, thank you
you.
very much. Thank you. Good class.
Joanne.
Yeah, take care.
Have a good
Hope
couple of
things aren't
weeks.
too crazy in the hospital. I see the numbers are rising again.
They're okay right now.
Good.
See what happens.
Yeah. Keep wearing those masks. That's right.
That's all.
That's what we do. All right, David, when are you leaving, David?
Tonight,
Oh, tonight. Safe trip.
thank you.
All right. See you in a couple weeks. All
All
right.
right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Joanne.
Yes, where are you?